What's up, everyone, and welcome to Last Week in Star Wars. I'm Alex.
I'm Molly.
And before we get into the news, I wanted to share a quick update on our tabletop role-playing adventure that we're working on. We're testing out basically a tabletop series, or what it would look like if we did that, getting all the technical mess-ups out of the way. We did our second session this past Sunday, and again, I had a lot of fun doing it.
This one was a lot longer session.
Yeah.
But I think we are figuring it out still, but like really settling into a good groove.
This is my first time being a GM and actually running a game of any kind. And one of the biggest things I was like, let's test this out, is because I didn't know if I would like it or not, but I really like it.
Yeah. And you said you had a lot less prep for this one.
Yeah, the first session I did, our intro session, more just because of planning. We did a session 0, and then I had like a month or two to plan what session 1 was going to look like. And then we were like, all right, let's do session 2 in 2 weeks. And I really only prepped for about 1 week for it. And I still think it went really well. You all the players are very good too. You're all great at introducing some extra chaos. And
yeah. I have to mention something really silly that we made up. It's basically a Star Wars Tamagotchi. And was it Ashton who thought of the name?
Yeah.
So he called it a Tambor-gachi.
We were trying to think of a Star Wars thing to call it.
As in Wat Tambor. And so, yeah, I need to like sketch that out. And just
then
see what it looks like.
Like just the type of people at the table, we kept riffing on that and yes-anding it. And yeah, it was made by the Techno Union during the Clone Wars as separatist propaganda. So like you're taking care of a little digital Wat Tambor, but every once in a while it's like, long live the Confederacy.
And so, yeah, my character is a KX droid. And so now she's got a little Tambor-gachi to take care of.
So I'm just having a great time with all of the chaos and the silliness. It's just like, it's nice to be silly with Star Wars in this way. Especially when things can feel so serious everywhere else. Both in the fandom and in like, Andor was really heavy, and now we're just going in the opposite direction, being so goofy with it.
Especially, after binge watching Andor several times over.
But let's get into some news about the next live-action Star Wars series. We got a few little drops and hints about Ahsoka. Mostly we heard about the directors, which Dave Filoni is returning, obviously. Bryce Dallas Howard is coming back, which I think is her first time directing Ahsoka.
Yes.
Jennifer Getzinger and Anders Engstrom are the other two we heard about. Getzinger directed episode 6 in season 1, which was the first Thrawn episode, which I liked that one a lot. His introduction was fantastic.
Yeah. That Thrawn music really sells it.
Yeah.
I mean,
the Kiners just crushing it with that organ. I'm excited that we're going to get Bryce Dallas Howard, and she probably directed my favorite episode of Skeleton Crew. It's between hers and the finale of that series.
I've really enjoyed all of the Star Wars episodes that she's done so far.
I agreed. Every time she comes in, it's a banger episode. So really happy she's going to step in. And then I am not familiar with Engstrom's work, but he was on Percy Jackson and the Olympians, which I think you were telling me was one of the bigger Disney Plus hits of the last year or so.
Yeah, I don't know that franchise either, but I do think that show was like the top most watched show on Disney Plus last year.
We found that out like through osmosis of looking at Star Wars news of just the rankings of Disney Plus series, and that one was at the top or near the top.
So I can see Disney being like, hey, you want to come do this?
If he found success there, let's bring him over to Ahsoka as well. In addition, Ivana Sakno, who plays Shin, teased very little. She was asked in an interview, and of course she was like, I can't say much, but all I can say is that it's bigger and even more in-depth, and I'm really excited for people to see it. It means the world. First of all, I'm just glad to hear from her, because that character wasn't discussed as much at Star Wars Celebration. I know she was shown in that little concept art trailer that they teased us with, but
God, that went by so fast.
Yeah, it was hard to focus on anything, and the main thing I remember is Chopper with like a 50 caliber blaster rifle leaning out of a ship. So that was my big takeaway. But obviously she was going to be in season 2, and that's no secret. But it's good to hear her speaking about it. And
yeah, I barely remember them mentioning her at Celebration, so I was kind of like, ooh, I hope she's still in it. You know, like, I don't really know what they're going to do with her, but interesting now that the two of them are split up, her and Balin.
Right. And it did show her, I think in the concept, it was her leading those bandits, which makes sense. That's where we left her.
Yeah.
Was kind of rallying them under her command.
She feels like the anti character to Sabine, so they gotta have a rematch at some point.
Exactly. I mean, they're both the Padawans, the apprentices of their respective masters, and Ahsoka and Sabine kind of found an understanding over the course of the season. Meanwhile, Shin and Balin split up. And so I also think, I don't know, we could head towards a rematch, a first match against Shin and Balin. She might be feeling abandoned.
Yeah. But this show, do we know when it's coming out?
It's in the middle of filming right now. So next year at some point.
Okay.
But that's probably all we know. I think we'll get next year the Maul animated series, the Ahsoka season 2. But yeah, does that quote speak to you at all about it being more in depth?
Specifically for the character of Shin, I am hoping that she gets a little more to do, a little more depth to her story.
I agree. I'm glad to hear that from her perspective, everything is feeling deeper. Because I always wonder, does each actor even get to see the full script? Star Wars is so secretive, but...
yeah, they only get like their character lines, pages.
I don't know if that's the case in Ahsoka or not, but Ivana, at least, knowing her character, is getting more depth. I also think we'll be going deeper into Star Wars lore. It looks like we're leaning into Mortis stuff. Gonna continue to bring the really weird Force stuff into live action for the more casual fan. So yeah, that's cool.
And I think they definitely alluded to that at the panel too, like just saying it was going to get weirder.
Yeah. And it's interesting that, the story is still going to be split. At first I was wondering if things would feel a little more focused because all the characters are on Peridia. But I was like, well, that's not the case, because they did talk about Thrawn in the main galaxy and Hera and Akbar. Like, all that story is still going to continue as well. So yeah, it sounds cool to me.
I just want to see Dathomir.
What's in those boxes?
What's in the box?
But moving into last week in canon, there was only one new comic issue this past week, Legacy of Vader 6, which again, you read it.
I'm enjoying this series a lot.
This was my favorite issue probably since the premiere issue. I liked this one a lot, but what did you think of it?
I liked it. I mean, we kind of knew where the story was going to go. I think Charles Soule hinted at the fact that Kylo Ren was going to be tracking down an Order 66 Jedi survivor at some point. So we finally are starting to get to that.
Yeah, Vinay even said as much at the end of issue 5, but this is the issue where Kylo actually hunts them down. Before that, I wanted to touch on the opening sequences all on Corellia, the First Order siege of Corellia, which I thought tied in nicely to everything that we saw at Galaxy's Edge, because you go on Smuggler's Run.
Oh, yeah.
And that mission with the Falcon is on Corellia, which has been taken over by the First Order.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't remember that.
And there are also TIE echelons flying around, which we see at Galaxy's Edge, and First Order TIE brutes, which we haven't seen those outside of Smuggler's Run. So it was cool to see them, again, still on Corellia, flying around.
Yeah.
I liked that.
It's always nice to see the synergy from the parks stuff. And especially if it's only seen in the park and then we get it in something else.
Exactly. I mean, like the canon junkie side of me is, the park, you go there and everything here is canon, but obviously everyone has their own experiences. So to just see something about the First Order takeover of Corellia kind of giving a little bit of, concreteness to everything that happens through the parks is fun.
Something else I'm enjoying in this series is we see a lot of Kylo Ren and Hux butt heads, and it's really helping sell his turn in
Episode 9.
In Rise of Skywalker. Because, it did feel kind of sudden that he's like, I'm the spy, but every issue we really see them arguing, and like in this one, Hux has like planned this whole attack on Corellia, and Kylo Ren swoops in his TIE Whisperer and just like dominates the fight, and rightfully so. That pisses off Hux.
Yeah, I like seeing him bristle. I also feel like he is truly giving it the college try. Like,
Yeah.
He's trying to be a good general for Kylo Ren, but he's like, this guy sucks.
Yeah.
He won't listen to me. He won't just do things the easy way. He has to be dramatic. He is his grandfather's grandson.
Hux built him a new throne and everything.
I did like the throne.
Kylo said that he liked the throne.
He said, good job, Hux. But I did like that fancy chair, and it kind of was reminiscent of Vader's castle. Had the 2 prongs on it.
Yep.
Yeah. But then Vinay gives him a call, and he just drops everything to go hunt down this Order 66 survivor. And that's the rest of the issue. He basically interrogates an entire tavern until the Jedi shows up and invites him to chat, and that's the end of the issue.
Yeah. The Jedi is not someone that we know.
Nope.
The species...
Thelan, I think.
Like, full Thelan, not Thelan human.
Hard to say. They look like Ristal Sant with the prongs coming out of her forehead.
Yeah. She kind of looks like a granny.
Yeah.
She's like an older woman.
Which I don't know why that kind of like surprised me. Obviously they would be fairly old, but
yeah,
I guess I'm so used to all these long-lived alien species that I was like, oh, it is an elderly Jedi.
Yeah. But I loved that immediately she uses the Force to snatch his lightsaber off of his belt.
Yeah. And like, let's just chat, which obviously that's not gonna be just a simple chat for long, but
don't know the planet, but it's a snowy planet, and there's a frame that I've seen people talking about where it's just Kylo in his little snow jacket, and he's just doing this, and people have compared it to him being the new Disney princess.
Well, it's kind of like Rey experiencing rain for the first time, or maybe not the first time, but on Octo.
Yeah.
And just kind of being joyful at seeing rain at all.
Yeah. Kind of a nice setting for him, very briefly.
Yeah. Well, it's a little like that connection of them. They're a dyad, so they do have these similarities. Summer is here. More sun, more light, more time to do all the things that make summer so special. And the number one thing you don't want to be doing all summer? Spending hours cooking inside. That's where Factor comes in. Factor's chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals are ready in just 2 minutes, taking the hassle out of eating well. Factor meals arrive fresh and ready to eat, perfect for any active lifestyle over summer and beyond. With 45 weekly menu options, you can pick gourmet meals that fit your summer gains and goals. Choose from options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, Keto, and more. Factor powers your day sun up to sundown, with nutritious breakfasts, on-the-go lunches, premium dinners, and guilt-free snacks and desserts. Factor has your whole day covered. Enjoy more this summer. Get Factor if you want all the flavor and none of the fuss. I've tried several weeks worth of Factor meals, and they're perfect for fitting lunch into my busy schedule. I cook breakfast in the morning, and Molly and I cook dinner together in the evening, but finding time for a good lunch has always been a struggle for me. Factor is simple and quick to prepare in the microwave or oven, and the meals taste good. I usually choose their Protein Plus meals that come with chicken, pork, or beef. They taste good, they're quick to make, and they definitely feel like a step above a standard microwavable meal. Get started at factormeals.com/StarWars50off and use code StarWars50off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. That's code StarWars50off at factormeals.com/StarWars50off for 50% off plus free shipping. factormeals.com/StarWars50off. Well, moving on to last week in questions, we took a few from our Patreon, and for a quick Patreon update, we did see Jurassic World Rebirth this past week, and did a chat about it, a full podcast episode about our thoughts on the movie. Especially since it's Gareth Edwards, there's a Star Wars connection there.
Oh, yeah, there's several.
Yeah.
Just some similar directing styles and themes.
It definitely felt like a Gareth Edwards movie.
Yeah.
But we enjoyed it. We're not like Jurassic Park mega fans, but I thought that it was fun, probably the best of the Jurassic World movies at the very least.
I really liked it a lot.
I have a soft spot in my heart for Jurassic Park 3 just because it came out when I was the right age for it, but I'm like, it's Rebirth is around Jurassic Park 3 for me. Like, it's Jurassic Park, Lost World, and then Rebirth / Jurassic Park 3. They were both just fun and entertaining and had some good dinosaur action.
Yeah. I think my ranking would be similar.
I think I'm even leaning more and more towards Rebirth, just because it was more intense than I thought it would be.
Oh, yeah.
Like, a lot of the action scenes had me, like, gripping the armrest.
Yeah. We don't have any solid plans to see Superman yet, but I do want to see it since it's all I read about on social media timelines.
Again, we're not big DC fan people, but I keep seeing people talk about how good it is. I like James Gunn's movies for the most part, so yeah, I'm interested in giving it a shot.
I've always liked the Superman story. I loved the originals.
Yeah,
I did
1 and 2 are really, really good.
I did watch Smallville for a time. I think maybe like the first 2 or 3 seasons. I don't know how many seasons there were. I liked the Brandon Routh Superman a lot. Again, maybe it was just like the right age to be going to see it. And then everything past that, Superman-wise, I didn't really relate to as much.
Agreed.
So I'm ready for a fresh start.
Mm-hmm. And I keep hearing that it's really fun and kind of goofy, and I'm like, okay.
And that's what it should, I mean, that's what the original was. So.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like all of James Gunn's movies are a little goofy to it. Even like, I don't think he fully wrote Dawn of the Dead, but it's got some goof to it that I enjoyed.
Yeah.
Slither is a horror movie, but also has some great comedy in it.
Mm-hmm.
But moving into our questions, Jordan Blaney asks if we think there will be any more comics set in the High Republic after the final issue at the end of the month. July 30th is the official final end of the High Republic Publishing Initiative with Kevin Scott's comic, The Beacon. It's a one-shot that will close it all out.
I feel like, okay, so big news update. I finished Trials of the Jedi. Yeah.
Oh.
So now that I've finished it, I do think there are some threads that could continue on. I don't know if it's going to be a comic or maybe more books, but like Mike Siglain said, they're going to do this kind of like, not a phase 4, but a phase more, where there are some future stories that they could kind of play with.
Yeah, I think the initiative is over. We're probably not going to be getting 3 or 4, or I guess it would even be up to like 6 High Republic books a year. But I think maybe 1. Occasionally, you know, we're going to follow up on that one story thread that both of us want to see happen. I do think that there were teases at the end of Trials that are going to continue things on. Also, who knows how the Beacon is going to wrap up, but like I was harping on a couple weeks ago, I feel like Keev's story isn't quite finished. Keev Trinis. So I'm like, maybe there will be a little comic miniseries that continues on.
Yeah, and I kept assuming we would get a little bit more of Vernestra throughout Trials, and she wasn't in it as much as I had hoped. I would love to see more for her.
And yeah, there's plenty of time in between the end of the High Republic Phase 3 and even the Acolyte, or all the way up until the Phantom Menace.
I guess I still need to read Wayseeker, but when does that take place?
20 years before the Acolyte, something like that.
Okay. Still plenty of time to explore.
Also, Charles Soule is working on a comic called The Broken Blade about Porter Engle. He did say that that is not part of the High Republic Initiative. I think that will be probably the next High Republic. I assume it'll take place in that same era. He's an Akruki. He can live a long time too. So it could be, I don't know, after Order 66.
Yeah.
That'd be wild, but I assume it'll probably be somewhere in between, in the High Republic after Phase 3.
Yeah.
Also, if you have finished Trials of the Jedi and you're excited to talk about it, we're going to be holding our Patreon book club meeting for that on Monday, the 28th at 6 p.m. So, yeah, keep an eye out for that if you are interested in attending. But for our second question, Eve asks how the second Death Star and the Sith Eternal Fleet were built without calcite. Deep substrate calcite.
I mean, with all the trouble that they went through with Gorman, They probably are like, there's got to be something else we can use.
I don't know. I think that, okay, we know that the Death Star 2 and the Sith Eternal Fleet, obviously they get finished. We don't know that they didn't use Calkite.
Well, the Death Star 2 doesn't really get finished.
Well, yeah,
it's
but
operational.
They needed the Calkite for the super laser.
Yes.
And the super laser works on the second Death Star.
Maybe they had someone scour space and nearby planets to get any pieces that may have survived the first Death Star.
Yeah, I have a few thoughts on this. First, we don't know how much Calkite they needed. Mm-hmm. If they found it on Gorman, they're probably just like, we take it all.
Yeah,
and then
they've got reserves.
Yeah, because, I mean, at that point, the Sith Eternal Fleet had probably already begun construction too, so Palpatine's like, I need all the Calkite we can get. Mm-hmm. So I just don't think they would go through all that trouble with Gorman to then be like, and we'll only take what we need.
Right. That's not really their vibe.
They're going to strip mine the planet, and maybe that was enough for everything. Second thought is that, yeah, they could have found it on another planet because they had to, but they found it on Gorman first, and they were like, well, that's the solution. And they're not going to bother looking around for like, well, let's find an uninhabited planet. Like, no, we found it. We're taking it.
They're killing two birds with one stone. They're getting their Calkite and they're committing genocide.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, that's the Empire's way. Mm-hmm. They take it because they can, not because they're like, well, let's be patient.
Yeah.
And look around for other sources.
They're like, there's a lesson to be taught here for the galaxy.
Yeah, we're also like crushing a rebellion and like clenching our fist harder.
Mm-hmm. I like the idea though that it really didn't take much for whatever it is that they needed it exactly for, and that they were like, let's just take all of it that Gorman can give us, and it's probably stashed away somewhere.
Yeah, they needed it to coat the focusing lenses or something. I'm like, they probably don't need a ton of it to just
it's a coating.
Yeah, just a light dusting of Calkite. They have like one little rock and like, boom, we've made dust with it. So I don't know how Calkite works. But yeah, that's basically, we don't know that the Death Star 2 or the Sith Eternal Fleet, I'm assuming they did use Calkite, and either they had plenty of it or they found it elsewhere. But that's it for last week in Star Wars. Next week, we're going to be covering the final issue of the High Republic Adventures and Star Wars Issue 3. Until then, please like this video, subscribe to the channel.
Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Blue Sky.
And consider checking out our Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.